Hey leaders, Tarun Stevenson here for Lead, Communicate, Grow. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about lifting your leadership lid. All right, let's get into it. Okay, here we are. We're going to talk about lifting your leadership lid. If you've ever read the book 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell, you will recognize this term. This is a term that really encompasses the way John Maxwell teaches leadership. And the essential principle of lifting the lid is that every leader has a lid or a ceiling for their leadership. And they will only ever be able to lead to the point of their ceiling or their lid. And if you want to grow in your leadership and you want to grow your organization, the one thing that's going to stop you is your ceiling, your limitations, whatever they might be. So the way you grow as a leader and the way you grow your organization is you start to lift that lid. Now, how do you do this? What are the aspects of lifting your lid? Well, I want to give you a couple of ways that you can look at this and assess how you can lift the lid in your own leadership. The first thing is this: you first need to identify what your lid is. You need to start off by being self-aware as a leader. You need to start off by being honest enough to say, you know what? If there are limitations here, those limitations are my problem, not everyone else's problem. I've worked with a lot of leaders that will spend a lot of time blaming their people for the limitations of their organization. Oh, they've got a bad attitude, or they don't work properly, or they don't do it the way that I want it. Ultimately, as John Maxwell says, an organization rises and falls with the leader. So if you feel that your organization is struggling or not going in the direction you want it to go, the first thing you've got to do is say, how am I contributing to this? How am I putting a cap on this? Is it a skill deficit on my part? Is it a lack of relationship? Have I not taken the time to build relationship with my people? Is it a lack of strategy or ability to plan strategically? Is it a lack of my ability to actually lead other people and gather other people? Whatever those deficits are, once you identify them, then you can start doing the work to lift the lid on your leadership. So, how do you identify your weaknesses? Well, I would say the first place you can start is with some competency assessments. You know, you can do a DISC assessment, or the Myers-Briggs is an oldie but a goodie. But there are lots of different personality tests out there that will help you identify your personality type, your weaknesses in your style of leadership, and then give you suggestions of how you can start to improve that. So start to assess yourself, all right? You can also talk to somebody, find a confidant, find somebody who will keep you accountable and be honest enough to say, hey, you need to address this in your life. And third one is talk to your people. Ask your people what it's like to be on the other side of you. What's it like to be led by me? What are some of the things that I do that hold you back or stop you from being the best that you can be? How can I be a better leader? If you take the time to do that, take some competency tests, have accountability people that can speak into your life, and ask your people the areas that you can improve on, what you will find is your self-awareness will start to identify those areas of weakness and the areas of blockage, and you will start to lift the lid on that. The second thing you need to do is you need to become a learner. Once you identify the problems, you need to go out and do some work to understand the problem and what it's going to take to fix the problem. The reason you need to be a learner is this: not all weaknesses are things that you should focus on. Sometimes focusing on a weakness that is really just not within your capacity to lift is going to mean that you expend too much energy on trying to fix something that is just ultimately a deficit for you in your personality. And you may find that you improve 1 or 2 points, but it's not going to lift the lid in the way that you need. You might find that once you learn about it, that you realize, okay, I can't be that person. I need to hire somebody to fill that void. I'm not going to be effective at marketing, so I need to bring someone in to do the marketing. I'm not effective at doing speeches, so I need to get someone who can do the public speaking for me. So learn and understand your weakness before just addressing it. Don't just say, okay, if I fix that in myself, it's necessarily going to fix the problem, because you may find that your deficit is so large that you need to fill that void with somebody who actually has it as a gifting or a skill set naturally. and that can help. So be a learner. Understand your problem and understand the solutions that are required to fix it. Make yourself accountable to somebody. Have a coach. Okay, I'm a big advocate of people having leadership coaches. I have a coach myself, somebody who I sit with once a month, and I just talk through my leadership, get them to challenge me, get them to give me ideas and strategies for success. So be accountable. Set out your goals and then share them with your accountability partner and say, okay, I want you to help me stick to them. I want you to help me to stay on task so that I can actually lift this lid in my leadership. And if you have accountability and you understand your problem and you're self-aware, what you will find is that lid will start to lift. As the lid lifts, what you would find is the organization grows with you. The other thing you can do is you can also lift the lid of other people. Now, I alluded to this in my previous point, where you might find that your skill deficit needs to be filled by someone else and not you. When you lift the lid of other people in your organization, where you release authority to other people, where you give them the ability to take on what they're actually good at, what will happen is it will lift the lid of your organization and lift the lid on your leadership, because you're no longer the weakest link in the chain. You replace yourself with someone who can actually do it better than you, and that will actually increase the capacity of everybody on the team. So there's a couple of little ideas of what you can do to lift the lid in your leadership. I want to really encourage you to take this seriously and to make it a priority in your leadership. Become self-aware, identify how you're holding your team back, and then do the work to fix the problem and lift the lid, and watch your leadership will rise as you lift your lid. I'm Tarun Stevenson. I hope you really enjoyed that and you found it helpful. If you did, give us a like, give us a comment, and share it with somebody who you think would benefit. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, see you soon.